Hey there, everybody. It's Kate Richburg, and it is Friday. It's time for Free Tip Friday. I'm not even wearing earrings. Let me put some on. I'm wearing bracelets, but look at, I've got these sitting right here. So let me put them on. It's great to see everybody here. You guys, today we are broadcasting from at so many places. There we go. Now I've got earrings. I feel better. Awesome. We are on all of the regular channels here at beadshop.com, our Facebook page, our Facebook group, our YouTube channel. We're also coming at you live from on our Great Bead Extravaganza channels, which is great because tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific time, the preview happens. The Great Bead Extravaganza Spring Fling is here, kids. My segment is going to be tomorrow on Saturday, that's the 9th, at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And so I have, if you haven't already, you can go over to the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group. You can also go right over to the greatbeadextravaganza.com. But we've got a listing. You can see that tonight is our project preview party, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then all day Saturday and all day Sunday, we've got a great lineup of all of our friends from around the Beadiverse. And you can see I'm sandwiched in there between my buddy Candy Cooper and my other buddy Jill McKay at 11, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so we've got that going on. And I just wanted to mention that, of course, you guys can find us all places on our social. You can find us on our Instagram at beadshop.com. And if you make any of our bead shop projects, we would love it if you gave us a tag, and we would love to add them to our Instagram stories. And then, of course, if you'd like to join us over in our Facebook group, join us on Facebook at our group, The Bead Table. And if you're liking and watching us now on YouTube, either live or on the replay, jump over and hit that subscribe and notification button so you'll never miss anything bead tutorial related right over here at beadshop.com. And today, if you're watching me live, it is Friday, April 8th. If you grabbed your newsletter today, if you joined us and you are subscribing to our newsletter, you got this in your newsletter. It's our coupon code celebrating the Great Bead Extravaganza Spring Fling. This coupon is good through Sunday night at midnight Pacific time, right over on beadshop.com. You just use coupon code Spring Fling at checkout, and we'll knock 20% off your order, which includes, you guys, let me see if I can get this banner. Where's my production assistant? Here I am. I'm back. It includes our really fantastic kits that I'm going to share with you today. So let's see who's watching. Janice is over on our YouTube channel saying hello, and our wonderful Gita across the miles from Denmark is doing some moderating over on Facebook. So, don't you worry, you guys. If you miss tomorrow, there's no problem. You will be able to find the replay of our broadcast on all of our regular social channels. Best place to watch it is YouTube. But you can also go over and join the Great Bead Extravaganza group and page, and all of the videos from all the presenters will be archived there, not only for the Spring Fling event that's happening tomorrow, but from past events. We've been doing this for about a year and a half now, so there are hundreds and hundreds of hours of instruction over there. And speaking about hundreds and hundreds hundreds of hours of instruction. I just want to let you guys know, many of you know this, but we are celebrating 40 years in the bead biz here at beadshop.com. And so we are place number one for all kinds of great learning that is all bead and jewelry making related. So you can jump over to Bead Shop, hit that learning tab, and there's a wealth of information there. You can drill down into our projects. We've got lookbooks and skill builders and all kinds of great stuff. So we would love to see you over there. And you can always shoot us an email if you have any questions. We're just right on the other side of our computer. So that being said, I think I've got all that business out, right? Whew. Let's get to some making, shall we? Now, our Free Tip Fridays, you guys, are always a little more casual. And Free Tip Friday, we are going into, we're deep into 5 years of this online broadcasting coming at you every week. And this Great Bead Extravaganza weekend is just kind of like the icing on the cake, right? It's so fun to be here with all of our friends and anything. It's really, really fun. So my Friday broadcasts are a little less formal than my Wednesday broadcasts. Many of you guys have been watching me for all 5 of those years, right? But if you're new to Bead Shop, you can watch us every Wednesday and every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. These Friday broadcasts, you guys, are, as I say, a little more casual with what I do. So you just need to hang in there with us. So the kit, I promised you some info on these kits. Let me take this one off that I've been wearing pretty much nonstop this week. So the original of this beauty was this guy. And I did this, I don't know, it was a while back. This one was our original expedition bracelet. And you can find these over on beadshop.com. There's recipes for all of this. So our kits are going to sell out because they just will. They've been super popular and we're really grateful for that. But the recipes and stuff will stay up on there. And so someone asked about putting the, Kathleen said, when you send kits out after purchase, mark the name of the kit. Kathleen, they are going to be on the invoice that gets sent. You can also access your past orders, and this is for everybody who orders from us. You can add anything in the order notes that you'd like, and those order notes will be on the invoice that comes with your order. So if you want to, like, we have customers who go, oh, this is for our In the Garden project, or this is for our color study project or whatever. You can just write that in the comments, and that will show up on your order. So this was the expedition, the first one that I did a while back, and it was just kind of an off the cuff, literally on a Free Tip Friday that I did this. And then I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do this for the Great Bead Extravaganza? And I'm really thankful that you guys thought it would be fun as well. So this was a Sally kit, and this is the one that sold out the quickest. And I had a feeling that you guys would like this boho vibe of this one. This one uses this chain. It's the gunmetal chain here. And this gunmetal we don't carry yet. You guys liked it so much. I wasn't sure if you loved it, right? But you did. So hooray for us. So we'll be adding this eventually. This is the gunmetal. And this is an exclusive leather. It's kind of hard to see, but it has a little bit of embossing on it. So eventually we'll be adding, we've got some new flat leather that we're going to be adding soon. So stay tuned to the newsletter for more info about that. So this was Sally, and this was named after our premier #1 woman, first woman in space, Sally Ride. I named all of these after women explorers because I like reading true stories about people, and I don't know, I just thought this was a fun cuff that maybe one of these ladies would have slapped on her wrist and had adventures with. So this is the Sally. This one is the Bessie, for Bessie Stringfield, an African American woman who earlier in the 20th century was a fearless explorer of the United States, all across the US on her motorcycle. And if you look at Bessie and you look at those pictures, you cannot help but see the spirit of adventure in her face and her eyes. And I have always found her fascinating. So I dedicate this one to the lovely Bessie Stringfield, and I hope that if she were here and stopped by my house, may she rest in peace, I could put this on her um, on her wrist, and she'd continue on her motorcycle adventures. This one is the Amelia, and we all know Amelia Earhart, the wonderful aviatrix who made so many inroads on in her days. I made this one to go with the Kate's favorite. Right. I read a biography of Amelia Earhart when I was a little girl, and I was always fascinated by her, not only her achievements, but her final voyage. You know, she took off from Oakland, California on her final voyage, very near to where I grew up when Oakland was a small airport. So I've always felt an affinity for her, and I've always loved flight, right? Flying has always been something. Someday I'm going to do it, you guys. I'm going to fly that plane. But I just find flight so fascinating. So this one is named after Amelia. This is a champagne leather, again, exclusive to the kit, with this bronze leather cord and then the antique brass here. So this one is in honor of our wonderful Amelia. And I love it when Kim, she is so connected to the space program. She said, Kate, we had the first successful launch of a private pay astronauts to the space station about 2 hours ago. I actually saw that. I have a couple of space and flight apps on my phone. So I did actually watch that, Kim. So travel and space, it's always fascinated me completely, space and flight travel. So this one, you guys, is named the Junko. And Junko, you look her up. She is linked in the description, but she was the first woman to successfully ascend Mount Everest. So I made it in these icy tones. And so this is a tribute to her. So anyway, so we've got all these definitions, all of these expeditions here. And on Bead Shop, the cool thing is we have these kits, but if you look under the original expedition um, project, there's a recipe listed there, what we call a recipe. So you can just click on over and choose whatever color leather you like, whatever color chains you like, and you can make up your own adventure. Okay. And so someone's asking, how do the Junko and Amelia look together? I think they look amaze, right? We've got the silver and we've got the gold. I just love them. And I'm so stoked. You know, Janice always laughs at me. I always say when we make up kits, I always say, gosh, I hope people like them. I feel like I'm giving a party, throwing a party, and I'm just hoping that people will come. But thankfully, my darlings, you love them. And can you see on this Junko, I used a new clasp. This is a clasp we don't carry. Though if you guys love it, we may add it in. I really like it. And I thought it kind of mimicked the swirling snow anyway. So I loved it. So anyway, I'm going to talk to you more about these. This is just the preview. Oh, see, look at how I'm just going to put both of these on my wrist, and they go on so nicely. And tomorrow I'm going to talk to you, give you all the tips and tricks about how to size them and how to make this leather work perfectly in your design and in the clasp and stuff like that. So don't you worry. And again, if you can't log in, you'll be able to see the replay. I'm also wearing this entwined piece that I did. It's all finished. It'll go up on the site as well. But you can see I'm kind of working with a color story here. So I'm kind of like Wonder Woman with all of these pieces on my wrist today. So here they all are. You can see these, and the kit will all come together with the clasp and everything in it. So it's there. There are limited amounts of these, you guys. So if you love them, I wouldn't wait. I would jump over, I would grab your kits. Um, We've also restocked some of the chain, and it'll be a few weeks before we get the chain back in for these pieces if we sell out this weekend. So, but don't never fear. If you're watching this a little bit later, and if whatever you're watching this later and you're like, wait, you've run out of that chain, that Love of Lydia chain that we love so much. We named it after Janice's dear mama, Lydia. Just go ahead and put your name on the notification list, and you'll get an email as soon as they come back into stock. Okay. So, but for now, everything's in. Okay. But I wanted to share on this kind of casual free tip Friday, I wanted to share some tips about chain and leather because I love the way chain and leather looks. And this might be a repeat for some of you guys. Some of you, it might be kind of new. So just kind of hang in there with me. And I think hopefully we'll learn something. Maybe we'll even learn something together. But we have a nice selection of chain over on beadshop.com. And you can see they come in a lot of different colorways, or sometimes we call them flavors here at Bead Shop. We have a lot of antique silver and the copper and the brass, different sizes. And I think that chain, sometimes, you get into a little bit of a design rut. I think that chain is a real creativity Kickstarter, to be honest. Okay. And so I'm going to show you a couple of basics that if you have, like I have a little bag that I put my little bits of chain in. So I just want to start out and show you how I would connect. This is our large paperclip chain. All I have of this are 4 links. That's it. And I also keep my little bits of leather. Now, you may have some of this in your stash. We have it on the website. It's our cotton bolo cord. It's all like about a 2.5 millimeter. You've seen me use this for bracelets. We've used them with those big crimps for stacking bracelets or and stuff like that, little bangle bracelets. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool to use this cord? It's a nice heavy cord. And look at how it connects with chain. I'm going to silk wrap. What a surprise. Quelle surprise, right? And I'm going to silk wrap using Irish wax linen. And I also have some little bits of Irish wax linen floating around. So the way that all of my little scraps that I have here, I have little boxes that I've labeled, and you can see, let me see, I've got one right here. This little box, it's labeled, you can see it maybe right there. It's KO thread. It's just a little box I keep my thread in, right? I have one for leather. I have one that says wax linen. So I put all of these little kind of dregs, it's not a very nice word, but all these little bits that are left over from my projects, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes you only need like 6 inches of a thread, or 5 inches or 6 inches of a piece of leather cord. And so everything gets used. Okay. So I don't even know what this is going to be. I'm just going to connect it, right? So this is that bolo cord. You could put it in a crimp. There's lots of ways you could connect it. But I've been on a silk wrap kick lately, so I'm going to silk wrap it. It's one of our skill builders if you're new to us and you haven't seen me do this before. But essentially, I don't know how much I cut. Maybe this is a foot, but I think I just picked up what I had. You could use a little less. I have a little end here, and then I have my thread winding around. I pull all of this together and I wrap with this long tail. And I'm going to wrap everything, the bolo cord plus that tail. And you can see I've looped it around. I'm wrapping towards that loop. And I'm going to wrap nice and even. Okay, and Nancy's saying that she says her silk wrapping is so sloppy. She practices, but she can't seem to get it tight. You know what, Nancy? Let me show you here. This is the kicker for me to getting it tight. Okay, I'm going to give myself a little bit more of an edge. Here's my long strand to my short strand. Okay. Now what I do is I try and keep everything straight. So my cord is laying side by side, not twisted. And here's my thread, and it could be anything, CKC, wax linen, 0.5 millimeter leather, Ceylon, whatever you're going to wrap with, okay? Now see, the loop and the loop are together right there. Now with my left hand, I'm going to hold all of this tight. With my right hand, and I hold it right where I kind of want that silk wrap to begin. See how I pull this thread with my right hand down at a right angle from that cord? Now I'm going to reach behind and pull it tight for my first wrap. This is the kicker. I'm doing this, of course, all in brown, so it's hard for you to see. But that first wrap, then I come in and I switch hands. I get my left hand on that thread and I do my second wrap. And see, it's tight, like I'm doing wire, right? So it's all nice and tight. I give it one more tug and I wrap it. And I just do that 360 around, right? My bracelets are making noise here. There we go. So see how nice and tight. If when you're wrapping here and it's loosening up, stop and start again, all right? Because if it's not a tight wrap here, pulling it and closing it up won't make it any tighter, okay? So if it loosens as you're wrapping, take it off and rewrap it. Okay, so now, I don't know how many wraps I've done, just enough so I like the looks of it. Okay, and Janice is saying, and watch that thread, this is exactly right. And watch that thread like you would a ball in tennis. Just keep your eye on the thread. That's exactly right, right? Keep your eye on the thread. Now I'm going to come around. I'm going to open up this loop. And instead of completing the wrap, I'm going to send that thread through the loop. Now I hold it tight there so nothing can come loose. And with my right hand, I'm going to come in, pull this thread so the loop is tightening. Now watch right here. Watch here. See how there it goes. And now my loop is like a little mole in a molehill. It's underneath that wrapping. I take the two and pull them tight. Okay. So now I'm going to come in. I'm going to clip that away. I don't need glue, especially with this wax linen, because the connection is under here. And I'm also going to come in and I'm going to clip away that extra cord. Okay, so now I've got this kind of cool looking wrap here. And maybe it's a little bit bare, so I want to, you can see I've got such a long cord there. I'm going to give myself a doubled over knot. And let's just see if I can walk that knot just so it doesn't look so, right? It looks like thick and then it goes to kind of thin here. So I'm just going to give myself a knot. And just because this cord is heavy, you know, almost a 3 millimeter actually, it doesn't mean that you can't knot with it. Look at that doubled over knot there. Doesn't that look a little more pleasing? I think it does. right? So I'm going to need some here. So I'm going to cut this away. And let me just do a quickie. Oh, good, Nancy. I'm glad that helped. Sometimes it's fun not to have too much of an agenda for a free tip Friday and just come in and, we haven't done a bead doctor episode in a while, which is always fun to come in and answer questions. Janice and I will get that back on the books, we promise. But sometimes it's fun to just kind of riff, and see what happens. Whoops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to hit the camera. So now I'm going to do this faster. I'm going to do this a little more at Kate speed because you saw me do that earlier. So the loops are about even. I'm going to go there. So again, tight and tight, switch it up. And I can see how that's not going to be quite even. So let me just push that up a little. So visually, that's close enough right there. Close enough for fast demo work, right? There we go. Wrap it tight, wrap it tight. Now I'm going to do one more. And as I come around, bring it through our loop friend, tighten her down, bring that underneath, pull the two, trim it away. Let's get rid of this extra cord. I made that a little bit long, but that's all right. There. There. You could also use your thread snips for this. I've got my wire cutter sitting here, so that's what I'm using. Now again, see, it looks a little funny there. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go through once. Trish, I did show the Silver Expedition. It's this one that's right here on my wrist. Right here. The newest one that just came out. You guys have loved it. It's actually selling out pretty quickly, which I'm glad you guys like it. That doubled over knot, tighten it up. Just going to be careful with how you're tightening it so nothing twists. It's a nice clean knot. Now I've got this cool component, right, that, I don't know, this could be a necklace, right? I could have made this side a little bit longer and I could add charms right there and it would be a charm necklace, right? I could have it just be like a bracelet and wrap it around a few times. I don't know, but it looks kind of cool. I'm going to let it just percolate. I have no idea what it's going to be, right? Let me show you with this Love of Lydia chain. I'm going to show you a couple of things with this. Okay, I'm going to make this kind of even, and then I'll have this component to work with later. Don't be surprised if this shows up in a project later. Okay. Oh, I love that Janice wants to make an expedition cuff in honor of our Julia child. You guys know that Julia is my spirit animal. I have always been hooked on her shows. My mom and I, when I was little, even before I was born, because Julia was making her shows into the 60s, she would watch it here in San Francisco on KQED, and I would watch it with her as well. We love our Julia, and I've cooked many things from her cookbooks, and I loved her with Jacques Pepin. She would come to Macy's in Union Square here in San Francisco and cook with Narcy David. I don't know if any of you remember, your local Bay Area people. Anyway, good food is like my love language, right? It really, our family Food is our gig. We were just talking about our Easter dinner this morning, so we that's it. So can you see what I did here as I was chatting about our Julia? This Love of Lydia chain here is made, the way that these chains are made now, they're all made by machine, and there are dies that cut these pieces of chain out, and then there are machines that link them all together. So um, they texturize, put the pattern in, then they cut the links, they form the links, and then the links get put together. So the way that this Love of Lydia chain is made, it's not soldered, it's an open chain. Okay, so this chain, let me get this off. It's formed of two pieces like this. Okay, and this big link opens. And can you see how when I opened it, I used my two pliers like this? It opens, and then you just slide it. Oh, I didn't open it quite enough. Opens and you slide it off, and then you slide this one off. Okay? Then you close it. So you don't have any waste. You don't have to clip the chain if you're using it at home. And you just close that back up. Now I have these cool little open links like this that I can use as components. And then I've got these things, right? These little things with nubs on them. You could use these as little stations. The other thing that these do, I think, let me see if I can do it. They may be plated closed, but let's take a look. This is actually the way that these links are made. They're cut out. See that? So when they're made, they're cut out like that with a die. There's a die that cuts these. Okay? So you can see there. And then there's a machine that this probably feeds through. It's probably cut and then folded like that. And then they all get connected. So you could also, and if you just kind of pull them off that way, you could also have these single-sided little components like this. Okay, there and there. Okay, so it's fun to sometimes, if you have some of the little dregs of your chain, you can kind of play around with it. Now this, I'm looking again at this braided bolo cord here. A resin, you could put a little drop of resin in there, right? Like a lot of you who do resin, you would put this on a piece of sticky tape, like, strapping tape or whatever, right? Like this. And then you'd pour your little bit of resin inside. You could stick a little bead or a tiny little flower or something. Yeah, the Junko is the silver. That's what this one is right here. So that's the one that debuted yesterday. Or no, sorry, this morning on the website. So take a look. These little Love of Lydia connectors, look at how they look on this cord, this bolo cord. Right? So you could use these, I don't know, as sliders if you were laddering or something. I don't know. But look at how cool they look. Right? I really like them. You could go back through. I don't want to cut too much of this cord because I might need this long, but I do want to, it's a little raggedy, so let me cut it at an angle. An angle always helps you get this heavy cord through. There we go. So look at that. 3 of these cords fit in there pretty nicely. Look at how nice that looks. Right? I don't know. And will they crimp for Tahoe? JP, I don't know. Do I have my, well, let's just try it. Let me try and crimp one here. because the seam is on the side. So, but maybe if you're careful, look at, see that side view? Can you see it? You want it to stay round, so we want to be mindful of that seam on the side. See how carefully I'm coming in? Looky. That's, I mean, it's moving just a little bit, so I just need to come in and crimp it just a little bit more. Look at how delish that is. Yeah, that's a keeper. Don't be surprised if you see this show up again in a project, right? Look at that. I love it. So there's that. There's that. If you haven't explored with this cotton bolo cord, right, do it. I really like it. And you can ladder with it. It's just like leather cord. It's just a little heavier, but it's cotton. And I love the texture. We carry it in some different colorways. We had it in the blue, and the blue, unfortunately, is not really available right now. I hope it comes back in, but I'm not holding my breath. But we've got some other colors. It's really nice. Okay. So I want to show you, this was something that I was thinking about. I don't know. I've got a few more minutes, then I'm going to sign off because we have, just a reminder, our preview night for the Great Bead Extravaganza is tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you'll see that on the Great Bead Extravaganza page and group. And then I'll be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. No, 2 p.m. Sorry, Eastern. And if you go to the Bead Extravaganza page, you'll see a place there in the announcements. It's pinned. You can pin all of the, you can print out the schedule. So what I'm doing here, this is the Rustico chain. And I love the way the Rustico looks. It's kind of a hand wrought kind of a feeling. This is, I think this is 1 millimeter that I grabbed. Distressed antique brown, I think. I don't know. It's out of my little bits and pieces. And you can see how I'm using it to just weave the leather in and out. Then, so it's kind of, let me just get it through the rest of these. I have no idea what the next step would be with this. But seriously, if you have beater's block, right? It happens to all of us. And when it happens, oof, right? You're like, nothing you make really works. Just get out your little bits of things that are leftovers, because these, I don't have any emotional investment in these pieces, right? They're just leftovers, right? So, you know, play around with it. Let's see if, oh, look at how cool that looks, right? Because it's not anchored down to anything, right? So see how that all kind of smushes together because I wove it, right? You could also pull it out, and I could get that same wax linen Let's see if I could anchor it. If I pull it up there, see how I've looped through it? This might not, it won't want to pull in because I've anchored it, but let me see if I can just maybe wrap it and tie it off or something. I don't know. Let me just see here. Or, okay, here we go. It's like this, right? Now, hold the phone. Hold that thought. I'm going to silk wrap over all this. I've got a lot of threads that look the same, so maybe I should have done it with a different color. But let's see what happens. If when I pull this loop, if I can figure out. Okay, silk wrapping it in. Now you know why I like silk wrapping with this. Yeah, that's the one. With this wax linen, it just has a really nice feel to it, and it's sticky, so it kind of stays where you put it. There we go. And I pull this tight. And I'm going to cut all of this away. Kim is saying that's what Cindy Brooks does. Does she use this like this weave chain in it? That's a great minds think alike. I think that's awesome. So there we go. Look at, and that's staying on there. Okay. And Barbara, I'm going to answer that question about compressing the leather. I'm going to share that with you guys tomorrow in my expedition piece that I do. But yes, I definitely do have those tips for you. So we're going to talk all about the clasps and how to deal with them and stuff like that. So don't you worry. I've got that all set. I'm going to come in here and let's silk wrap the second side. There we go. And this could be anything. It could be another piece of leather holding that in, like a 0.5 millimeter or something. If you have not explored the 0.5 millimeter leather, it's fun to work with. It's thin, and you kind of have to check it to make sure it's going to be strong enough for what you use, but I like the 0.5. There we go. Pull that on down so it goes underneath. There we go. Now pull both of them. Now let's cut away all this extra. So now, just kind of playing with this, with you guys watching and me just kind of making it up as I go along, I've got some inspiration for future projects, right? Like this chain isn't going anywhere. I love how this looks. Oh, Kim was saying that you guys were talking about using Rustico. She uses Rustico as an extender chain. Yes, I love Rustico as an extender. I like my chains because, because I'm a metalsmith, really, in some of my other lives. I like a heavier looking chain. So here are kind of the three, I don't know, I'd like to see if these can all come together somehow. I hope I've given you some ideas here, but this is interesting, I think, right, for you guys to play around with. So we're using this cord, the cotton bolo cord. I've used this 1 millimeter. I think you could certainly use 2 millimeter from this, right? I just use this 2 mil. And then I use that Love of Lydia as a crimp spurned on by JP, right? Which is, it was a great thought, Janice. I love it. I love it. Great ideas. So I love it that everybody, yeah, they could be interesting staff bracelets, right? I think that would really work. All right. So kids, final looks for these expedition bracelets until our preview night. And then tomorrow you can watch the whole show. I've got these two on my wrist with some of my other pretties going on here. And then we've got our other ones. This was the original recipe. And then these guys here. So thank you so very much, everybody. And of course, you can find all of the info on the project and the products from today's broadcast right on our website at beadshop.com. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. Just go right to beadshop.com and you can see it right there on our homepage. And here is one more time, the schedule for our spring fling. I'll see you tonight for the preview party at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I am on tomorrow at 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, right in between our buddies Candy Cooper and Jill McKay. Andrew and William of Allegory Gallery are kicking it off in the morning, and then we work through all of our buddies on Saturday and Sunday. So you guys, that's it. It was a fun tips. I hope you liked, I didn't think about this too hard before I went on. So I hope you enjoyed it. I think that you're going to see these pieces again. I think those were some fun ideas. Thank you guys so much. As always, we really, really appreciate your support because without you guys out there, we here would not be able to do what we love. Don't forget, you can use that 20% off store-wide on beadshop.com. Use coupon code SPRINGFLING20 at checkout, and that coupon is good through Sunday night at midnight Pacific time. Thanks again, and I'll see you later this weekend for the extravaganza. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.